Good morning. And welcome to Unity of Palmyra and all the joy that's already in this room. I think the silly bug has hit us all this morning, and it's quite wonderful. So, welcome to Unity of Palmyra, where centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. You might notice the do not enter sign on that door, and there's another one on the other side because we have begun demo. We have demoed for our new lift. So thank you to Karen and thank you to Jerry, who had a gig this morning, for helping to demo, and thank you in advance to Ken, who's going to be taking all of that to the dump tomorrow morning. So not only do we demo together, we are open and affirming together. We love you. Was that a good segue? I like that segue. We love you exactly as you are in all of your magnificent glory, and even as grubby as we got yesterday, Karen, we love each one of you exactly as you are and exactly how God has made you. So let's take a minute to really bring that knowing into ourselves, that knowing that there is absolutely nothing wrong with us, that there is so much right with us, and that we are enough. And so we bring that knowing and that assurance into this now moment. We let go of what was and what will be, and we are here now. For now is where joy lives. Now is where mindfulness lives. Now is where we can see clearly, with no regrets and no worries and no chatter. We are 100% here in body, mind, and spirit. Whether you are in this room or in the ethers, we are here now. And as always, we begin this time together with gratitude, as we say thank you for this time. This sweet, precious time to come apart for a while, to remember the truth of who we are, that we are spiritual beings having an incredibly interesting human experience. We say thank you for whatever safe space you are in this morning, again, whether you're here in our beautiful sanctuary or you are joining us and having this experience through the miracle of the internet. We are so happy that you have joined us this morning. And finally, we say thank you for one another, for this beloved community so dedicated to making a difference in the world, to being that change that we wish to see. And so it is. Amen. So please stand. Together, may the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to hurt, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, divine Spirit. And so in the spirit of gratitude, our opening song this morning is Grateful.
I am so grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. Everywhere I look, every face I see is love reflected, shining back to me. I just give thanks for all these simple things. the joy and peace that gratitude brings. I am grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. Every day I wake before I open my eyes, I count my blessings and I realize life is a miracle when I see it that way. I focus on the beauty, that's why I've got to say I am grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful. I am grateful for all the love that I have.
Well, if you weren't awake before, you are now. Let's share together in our vision. Centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. And our mission, wherever we go, we provide a welcoming community that inspires and encourages all who gather here through the teaching, sharing, and practice of universal spiritual principles. And one of the ways that we practice is to honor wherever you are on your hugging journey. So this tells us that we can bring it on in and give you a great big hug. This tells us that you'd prefer a handshake, and we will honor that. And if you want us to leave you completely alone, we will totally respect whatever bubble you create about yourself. Have a great time. So, a couple of announcements. Okay, I'll wait. No problem. Our prayer chaplains today are Lisa Bechtel and Charles Lee. They're going to be holding space for us throughout the service, and they'll also be available over there for some one-on-one prayer after the service if you would like it. We have a bunch going on in June, so I'm going to read the dates really quick, and then I'm going to encourage you to sign up downstairs to help and read your weekly email for details, okay? Otherwise, we'll be here all day. So the concert is June 14th. June's hug meeting is June 15th. Our opportunity to partner with our neighbors at the Church of the Brethren in the clothing closet are June 20th and June 21st. Lebanon Pride is 6/22, Hershey Pride is 6/29, Harrisburg Pride is 7/26, and Source of Light is August 1st and 2nd. Got it? Great. And there ends the announcements for the day. How's that? Miss Noel, would you please read the daily word?
Good morning. Is this on?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold it close.
Kindness. Today I will be kind to others. When I think of being kind, I am reminded of the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It only takes a moment and no special effort to be kind. I can smile at a stranger, hold the door for the person behind me, or let someone go past me in line. These small acts of kindness bless everyone involved. Other kind efforts may take more thought. I think of how I prefer to be treated. I certainly want to be heard and respected, and I want to know my views and opinions matter. I want others to see my value and treat me with dignity. I hold this thought as I think of others. I see people imbued with the Spirit of God. Kindness flows from me to bless others. Whoever pursues righteousness and kindness will find life and honor. Proverbs 21:21.
I am home, my family is here. I feel loved by the ones I hold so dear. And when my family needs me, I promise to be there. And when I need my family, I'm lifted up in prayer.
And so this is the time of our service where we consciously enter into a time of prayer. In Unity, we know that every thought, every word, every action is prayer. And so we bring a level of mindfulness to these few minutes of that understanding. So we step into that divine flow. That divine flow that we fairly swim in, of wisdom and strength and courage and love. We allow that to flow through us, filling us to the brim and overflowing. We feel it in every cell, every muscle, every organ. This is the truth of who we are. Bodies filled with light. And wherever we go, we have the opportunity to share that light, to share that wisdom and strength and courage and love. And so today we direct that energy to anyone experiencing the result of violence. We're seeing it in our country. We focus some energy right now on what's going on in Los Angeles. We focus energy on what's going on in our government. We infuse these situations with truth, with justice, and with compassion. For we know that violence only begets more violence. And so we commit ourselves to being bringers of peace. And we know we can only do that when we find and create peace within ourselves. And so that is our prayer for today, to find that peace, to create that peace, and to bring that peace wherever we go. So as always, if you are experiencing any challenge today, we invite you to simply rest in the arms of this community, this beloved community that loves you just the way you are and that sees the beauty in you. Feel our wisdom, our strength, our courage, our love and light, and make it your own. And if you are experiencing joy for any reason, and I hope you are, share that energy with all of us and see it spreading through that golden web that we visualize that connects us all, through which all energy flows. And together we know that together or apart, we are always connected at the heart. And so it is. Namaste.
The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. You are beautiful. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are whole. Excuse me. Good morning. I spent a long time running. I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they're always coming, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show it. We plant the seed then when we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around. Whatever grows will grow. Whatever dies will die. Whatever works will work. Whatever flies will fly. Whatever fails will fail. What's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds. It's like your whole life. You've been training for this moment, and when the time comes, you just disown it, meaning you just surrender, don't control it. Not interested in the clay pots and molding, or sitting next to the path trying to unfold it, or waiting for the fruits to fall down toward you. Let it go, and now you're flowing, feeling quite gorgeous. So you take steps away instead of towards it. What a rush, feeling freedom with nothing to hold. We've been taught that what you touch will always turn to gold, and now we're learning when we let it go. It overflows with no credit to take, because no credit is owed. A higher power working deeper when the seeds are sowed. When the seeds are true, then they're seeds of gold. But the real gold is joy when life starts to flow, and when it does, you just smile, because now you know. Took a long time running. I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits are always coming, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show it. We plant the seeds then, and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around. Whatever grows will grow. Whatever dies will die. Whatever works will work. Whatever flies will fly. Whatever fails will fail. What's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds, nothing more. Thank you very much. I did it!
Daniel and you would be proud of that performance. Whoops. Do we have the slide with the pictures on it? No? Uh-oh. Oop. Oh, there they are. Yeah, it's from the other one. Dan, I think if you pull up the other, there you go. Yay! So I thought, as I was preparing, that it would be nice for our Heroes series if you guys can actually see who the heroes are. So we'll have pictures. Now, a couple of Sundays I'm doing 3 people, so it might get a little crowded up there, but that's okay. So these are the first 2 heroes of our Heroes Journey series this summer. And what I've tried to do is to group the heroes together based on their work and what it felt like they were heroic about. Does that make sense? And so it seemed perfect to put Wangari Maathai, who has been a hero of mine for decades, and Jane Goodall together because of the work that they did. So our format for this summer is I'm gonna give you a brief bio. Again, I will be happy to send you my notes and my references so you can just listen. You don't have to write anything down unless you want to. It's totally up to you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at what can we learn from these heroes, right? What can we learn? How do they inspire us? And so, of course, planting seeds is perfect for both of them. But let's start with Wangari. So I thought it was interesting that Wangari was born on April 1st, and Jane was born on April 3rd, and I was born on April 6th. I'm just saying, I don't see a correlation there at all, but just in case. Okay. So, Wangari was born on April 1st, 1940, and her parents named her Wangari Miriam. Now, what you're going to notice about Wangari's life that I did a little bit of a deeper dive this week that I didn't remember from before, is she actually had like 3 or 4 name changes, but eventually went back to Wangari, went back to her birth name. So she was the oldest girl of 6 children, and as was the tradition in Kenya, she was considered to be second lady. So she was basically trained up to be a wife and a mother. And throughout her growing up, she took care of, with her mother, of her younger siblings. So she was doing housework, she was doing garden work, she was cooking. But what she realized early on was that the garden was her favorite place to be. The yard work was her favorite place to be. And part of this came from her mother, who instilled in her the importance of having a garden. So her father labored as a farmer. This was when Kenya was still under the colonial control of Britain. They were not yet independent. And one of the reasons that she was called Miriam throughout her childhood was because they were trying to get the parents to use anglicized names, right? So they moved several times, mainly to stay away from violence in her childhood. But when they got back to their home community, her older brother, Nederitu, please forgive any mispronunciations today. It's a challenging talk, okay? He wanted to know why was Wangari not in school like he and his brothers were. His mother thought that was a good question. And within days, Wangari was enrolled in the primary school of her village. And what I find interesting, and you'll see as I go through this, is that this is a woman who ended up with multiple master's degrees and PhDs, and yet it was her brother who said, why isn't she getting an education like me? So in 1951, she matriculated at a boarding school called St. Cecilia's Intermediate Primary School at the Catholic Mission in Nyeri. So the school was run by nuns, and they forbade the children from speaking their native language. They had to only speak English. Now, that sounds terrible to us, and yes, it was. However, it also meant that Wangari, when she ends up on the world stage, which we're getting to, spoke fluent English, which turned out to be a plus. However, she also converted to Catholicism at that time and changed her name again to, this time, Mary Josephine. So she now became Mary Josephine. Her experience at the Catholic school apparently, though, was pretty positive, right? This time it was her choice to change her name. So in 1956, she ranked first in her class at St. Cecilia, and then she entered the Girls' High School of Laredo. This was the only secondary school that was the Catholic high school for girls in Kenya. So she graduated from there in 1959. So the other thing that I found very interesting about Wangari is how parallel her journey was with the political climate of her country. So many of her decisions and her choices were impacted by that. So for instance, they said because the demise of colonialism in East Africa was imminent, Kenyan politicians sought collaboration with other leaders in order to assist in their successful transition to independence. So it turns out that one of these politicians was then Senator John F. Kennedy from Massachusetts. And so he started this program called Airlift Africa, or the Kennedy Airlift, through the Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. Foundation, where they would bring Kenyan students from Kenyan universities to the United States. And Mary Josephine Muta, which is what she was known at the time, was selected as one of those students. So it was a deal. To be selected as one of these few students was a big deal. So in the United States, she entered Mount St. Scholastica College. Now it's known as Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas. Can you imagine the culture shock? I'm just saying. So at this point, back in Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta was elected to be the new prime minister and then president of the new nation. That's going to come into play in a minute. So Mary Josephine Muda earns her Bachelor of Science degree, having majored in biology and minored in chemistry and German. What a slouch, right? In 1964, and then in 1966, funded by the African American Institute, she completed her Master's of Science degree in Biological Sciences right here in Pennsylvania at the University of Pittsburgh. And they have a lovely Wangari Maathai garden at the University of Pittsburgh. So she now returns to Kenya, and Mary Josephine Muda decides she wants to go back to being Wangari. And so she does. She is looking for a job, so she's offered one by Professor Reinhold Hoffman as a research assistant in the microanatomy division in the School of Veterinary Medicine at the University College of Nairobi. And so Hoffman really encouraged her to pursue her doctorate. So in 1967, she did in Germany. She studied at the University of Munich. She returned to Nairobi 2 years later, and she was still conducting research for her PhD. And that was also the year that Wangari and Mwangi Maathai, hence the name, got married. So in 1971, Wangari makes history for the first but not the last time. She was the first woman in East and Central Africa to earn a doctorate degree. She completed her PhD in veterinary anatomy from the University College of Nairobi. She was appointed to become an assistant professor in 1974, and 2 years later was appointed director of the Department of Veterinary Anatomy in 1976. With the former position, she was the first female professor in Kenya, and with the latter position, she was the first woman to chair a university department in the two regions. And she's back to Wangari. So from 1976 to 87, she was highly active in the National Council of Women of Kenya. And this is one of the kind of the turning points, because it was right around there that she, in 1977, developed the Green Belt movement. And that essentially became her claim to fame. It became her life's work. It involved the promotion of women's rights, the creation of democracy, the release of political prisoners, environmental conservation, including the planting of trees, and the reduction of poverty. It's a heck of a platform, right? She, I'm getting ahead of my notes here, but part of her brilliance was she recognized that women's rights and the environment and politics were inexorably connected. And so that, hence the platform. For her, she couldn't disconnect those topics. They had to all be addressed at the same time. So she also started standing up against when President Kenyatta passed away, his vice president, Daniel Arap Moi, took over, and he was an authoritarian, and he did not like Wangari. Did not like her to the point where she was beaten and jailed several times during his administration, because she was standing for equal rights and the environment, and she butted heads with him constantly. Here's an interesting, I love this part. So she and her husband separated in 1977. And in 1979, her husband filed for divorce, and part of the grounds was Wangari was too strong-minded for a woman and he was unable to control her. What a shame. So it got very ugly. He accused her of all sorts of things that, of course, couldn't be proved because they didn't happen. He also said that he didn't want her to keep his last name. So at that point, her last name was Mathi. So she said, well, I'll just add an A. And that's what she did. And so she became Wangari Maathai Maathai for the rest of her life. No more name changes. So she ran for several political positions. She was appointed to the Ministry for Environment and Natural Resources. She founded the Green Party of Kenya, which was supporting her tree planting, which was what she's really known for. She was part of what's called the Green Movement in Africa to limit, what's the word I'm trying to think of, the capitalization of property, right? Two of the things that she did that really annoyed Moi was he wanted to build like huge industrial complexes and buildings in parks and in forests, which would have required a ton of deforestation. And so she led protests against that, which made him very unhappy, hence her being jailed. The worst of these happened on July 7th in 1990, where the law enforcement opened fire on the crowd, and several people died, other people were seriously injured and jailed, and Wangari was one of those people. The good news, bad news part of that was it became extremely public, and it led to his downfall. So she says something interesting. She says, in an interview with The Economist, Maathai asserted that nobody would have bothered me if all I did was encourage women to plant trees. But I started seeing the linkages between the problems that we were dealing with and the root causes of environmental degradation. And one of those root causes was misgovernance. She did eventually get into Parliament, and the political party that she helped to found was called the National Rainbow Coalition. I thought we would appreciate that here. And so because of that, and because of democracy basically being restored, the corrupt President Daniel Moi was forced to resign. So in 2004, Wangari Maathai was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. So according to the literature from the Nobel Peace Prize website, she was recognized by the Nobel Committee for her contribution to sustainable development, democracy, and peace. Pretty huge. She was the first African woman and first environmentalist to receive the prestigious prize, and in celebration, she planted a Nandi flame tree at her home in Nyeri, near Mount Kenya. So she went on to continue to lead and to inspire. She particularly loved inspiring young women to think outside of the box and to claim their power and their potential. And she passed away in September of 2011 from ovarian cancer. She was 71 years old. That's Wangari. And now we get to Jane, born April 3rd in London, England, along with her sister. She was reared in London and various towns in England. She says her fascination with animal behavior began in early childhood. In her leisure time, she observed native birds and animals, making extensive notes and sketches, and read widely in the literature of zoology and ethology. This is when she was a child, you guys. She says, one of my earliest recollections is of the day that I hid in a small stuffy hen house in order to see how a hen laid an egg. I emerged after about 5 hours. The whole household had apparently been searching for me for hours, and Mother had even rung the police to report me missing. So, interestingly, and this is where she's diverges from Wangari's path, she didn't achieve higher education until later in her career. She went through the normal schools. In fact, her family was pretty well-to-do, so she went to private school, and she got her school certificate. I'm not sure what that means, maybe high school. I'm guessing any Brits out there can correct me. She went on to find employment as a secretary at Oxford University, and here's where we also start to see her fascination with Africa. She took a part-time job at a London-based documentary film company to earn extra money so she could go to Africa. So, this is also interesting for those of you who are familiar with the famous anthropologist Louis Leakey. Apparently, he took her under his wing, and he's the one who encouraged her to get involved in the anthropological digs and observing of the animals. He was the one that believed that a long-term study of the primates would, as he said, yield important evolutionary information. And he was the one who was fascinated with chimpanzees. So he was looking for someone, and again, I thought this was interesting, who had the proper temperament to endure long-term isolation in the wild. And apparently, that was Jane Goodall. So she decided to do it. Now, interestingly, some of Leakey's followers and other experts were not happy about this because they said, well, she has no formal education, right? And she doesn't even have a general college degree. But Leakey saw something in her, and he saw passion in her and a proclivity for this work. So in July of 1960, she and her mother and a cook arrived on the shores of Lake Tanganyika in the Gombe Stream Reserve of Tanzania, Africa, with the goal of studying chimpanzees. And that became Jane Goodall's life. She never went back. She spent more time with the chimpanzees than she did with humans, but she made some remarkable discoveries. And one of them was, she said she believed that when she began her study, that chimpanzees were kinder than humans. And she realized that they weren't. Pretty interesting. She also realized that they were using tools in various ways. And then this was a big one, that they were not vegetarian, that they would eat meat, and they would trap other animals. And I don't need to go any further into that. But so her work was literally groundbreaking and helped us to realize that the primates are not so different from us. Right? And as she went on in her work, she still is known for her work with the chimpanzees, but her real passion and focus became twofold. One was protecting the environment, right? Again, like Wangari, she saw that these are all interconnected subjects. They're not separate issues. And she also has become passionate about the use of animals in testing and has become a real proponent for teaching these students that these are sentient beings and they need to be treated with respect. She said, by and large, students are taught that it is ethically acceptable to perpetrate in the name of science what, from the point of view of animals, would certainly qualify as torture. So she's become very, very passionate about that. And like Wangari, she did go on to get her higher education, to put all the naysayers, to let them breathe a sigh of relief. And she has gone on to receive oodles and oodles of awards and recognition. She's written multiple books. She's been the subject of all sorts of videos and movies. But her passion is still inspiring the younger generation to be kinder and more mindful of our world and our animals. She said, these are just some amazing quotes from her. The greatest danger to our future is apathy. Young people, when informed and empowered, when they realize that what they do truly makes a difference, can indeed change the world, In fact, they're changing it already. And we've seen, I don't know if you've seen her close relationship with Greta. Thank you. And how close they have become in sharing their mutual passion. And this is interesting. When I first started, I thought the chimps were nicer than we are, but time has revealed they are not. They can be just as awful. Chimps have a dark side just as we do, but we have less of an excuse because we can deliberate. So I still believe that only we are capable of true, calculated evil. Interesting perspective from someone who studies chimpanzees. And then finally, to achieve global peace, we must not only stop fighting each other, we must also stop destroying the natural world. If we are the most intellectual creature that ever walked on the planet, why are we destroying that planet? Right? So that's Jane Goodall. So, what can we learn from these two amazing, amazing women? I would think persistence, right? No matter how many times they were arrested or naysayed, persistence. They definitely had a vision and pursued that vision. They both had a dedication to learning, lifelong learners. Neither one of them ever stopped learning and growing. They had an eye to the future. Up until her death, even as she was struggling with suffering from cancer, she was still encouraging people to go out and plant those trees. She knew she wouldn't live to see those trees mature, but she still encouraged people to go out and plant the trees. And of course, Jane's passion now has become the environment and saving the planet for our youth and our animals. And they both had such a respect for nature. Again, not seeing it as separate from ourselves, as seeing us as part of a greater whole. And what can we do as individuals to protect and sustain that greater whole? What seeds can we plant? They both planted seeds. Jane's were metaphorical, Wangari's were literal. And so I think these two heroes take us to the question of what seeds are we planting? What seeds are we planting in our community? What seeds are we planting outside of these walls? What actions are going to grow out of those seeds? These women planted seeds, and then they nurtured those seeds, and they supported those seeds. So, what seeds are we planting? And how are those seeds changing the world like these women changed the world? Let's take that into meditation.
We can change the world, one heart at a time. We can change the world, one heart at a time. I see you, I know you, you're a part of me. My heart is open to love. My heart is ready for love. You can change the world one heart at a time. You can change the world one heart at a time. I see you, I know you, you're part of me. My heart is open to love. My heart is ready to love you. I can change the world one heart at a time. I can change the world one heart at a time. I see you, I know you, you're a part of me. My heart is open to love. My heart is ready to love you. I can change the world one heart at a time. You can change the world one heart at a time. We can change the world.
So we weave together and take those words into our heart and our mind, and allow those powerful energies to flow together. One of Jane's most famous quotes is that everyone, every day, makes a difference. We get to decide, what difference are we making? So as we align our heart energy and our amazing intellect, and we allow them to merge and support one another, we commit to being that difference, to being that change that we wish to see in the world. Like these two amazing, powerful women. Each one of us is planting seeds. And those seeds make a difference. And the question before us is, what difference are we making? Is it a difference we might regret? Or a difference that we can be mightily proud of? What seeds are we planting? When we ask ourselves, what change do we want to see in the world? And when we become exquisitely clear about the answer, then we will know what seeds to plant. will know that the difference we're making is the change we wish to see. And we do it all, one heart at a time.
We can change the world, one heart at a time. I can change the world, one heart at a time. You can change the world.
Oh, so this is the time of our service where we do not pass a basket. We just say thank you for your ongoing generosity. If you do have a donation to make to the incredibly important and powerful work of this community, we accept paper in the back and through the ethers up there. If you have any questions, just let me know after the service, and we are happy to receive whatever donation you can make to our beloved community. Thank you.
Let's work with our actions as one. Push with our voices as one. Give with our hearts as one. And be the change we need in this world. Let's work and be the change we need in this world. Let's be the change we need and give with our hearts as one. Let's be the change we need and give with our hearts as one. Let's move as one. Let's move ahead with love and make the change as one. As one. And give with our hearts as one. Let's be the change we need and give with our hearts as one. Let's give with our voices as one, as one. and give with our voice as one.
So the opening quote that Janie said at the beginning of the song was from Jane Goodall, who believed that each one of us can be the change that we wish to see. So let's stand and share in our unity blessings and make sure we include our YouTube and Facebook friends. Together, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in each and every one of you. Together, we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I stand for love, I stand for peace, I stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I stand for you. You know our world is in great pain. She needs our loving care again. But there are those who fail to see what we have done and what we need. There is a cost for every act, and now there is no turning back. We burn a bridge, we bang the drum. It's time to rise, the time has come. If you're thinking it's not urgent, that we've got more time to kill, if I'm not the one who'll change things, then for heaven's sake, who will? So I will move, and I will climb that mountain one step at a time. I won't be swayed, I will not stop until we've made it to the top, where we will stand for love and peace, stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I'll stand for you, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope, I stand for you.
And our closing prayer is based on the prayer for protection by James Dillett Freeman. As the light of God we shine, as the love of God we embrace, as the power of God we stand in truth, as the presence of God we radiate love. Wherever we are the divine in expression, and all is well with our souls. So thank you to everyone who contributed to our service today. As always, our musicians are awesome. Go forth this week and plant seeds that you'd actually like to see grow. What do you think about that idea? Right? Have a wonderful week. We will see you here next week. Next week, we are celebrating Father's Day. Fred Rogers and Pope Francis. It's going to be a great day. Bye-bye, our YouTube and Facebook friends. We love you so much. Have a wonderful week.